know where the magic's at.
Hi, this is Kim from Dorothy's Daughter. Is your fabric stash taking over your sewing room? Or, as in my case, the entire house? Do you patterns seem to disappear just when you need them? Well, you are not alone. Today, I'm sharing some practical and beautiful ways to store and organize fabric, sewing patterns, and notions. This is part 7 of an 8-part series called Stash Up, helping you build a better, more productive, and shoppable stash of fabrics and patterns. The right colors, right amounts, right patterns, great accessories, and now that you have all these great resources, the need for good storage and organization methods seems really obvious, but here are a few maybe less obvious benefits. An organized sewing space makes every project a lot more enjoyable. When everything has a place, you save time, money, and you reduce stress. You also avoid buying duplicate supplies and instead shop your own stash. Best of all, it sparks a lot of creativity and makes sewing more relaxing and rewarding. Let's talk about some fabric storage methods. One of the most popular methods of storing your fabric is to fold it onto comic book boards. This keeps your fabric neat, uniform, and easy to see. I did buy some and just to evaluate and quickly realized that this does not work with apparel fabrics. They're just much too small and kind of flimsy for that. This is a great method though for quilting cotton or lighter weight fabrics. If you can use them, you can actually label each board with the fabric type and yardage. Clear plastic bins are also perfect for protecting fabric from dust, moisture, and sunlight. They're ideal for long-term storage. You can try organizing them by fabric type or by season. I tend to do like bottom weights, top weights, and then like special occasion fabrics. I have bins in my garage and I've labeled them accordingly so I can find what I need. Open shelving is also a beautiful boutique style display. It keeps your fabric visible and easy to access. For a really stunning effect, organize your fabrics by color. Or, as I have done, I have a non-stretch section, a knit or stretch section, and then I have subcategories of floral, solid, stripe, and that tends to kind of keep me a little bit more organized. Another thing you can do is hang your fabrics, like the silky, slinky type fabrics that you want to just keep straight. You can actually hang those in a closet. And that's a great thing for velvet, satin, any kind of liquidy type fabric is a good option for that. So just use skirt hangers, and this method can actually keep them smooth and ready to use. So my collection is all over the place, but it does have a method. I have 2 IKEA Kallax units. They have individual cubbies. This one in here is 4 by 4, so there are 16 cubes, and the same with the one in an extra bedroom. So that's my primary storage. I try to keep the things that are in the season that I'm sewing for in there, but it's kind of a mess right now. But I also have 2 dressers, and I have a lot of things in there like leather scraps, napkins to be embroidered, towels to be embroidered, that kind of thing. And I also have some remnants in one of the drawers, just random scraps, but sometimes they come in handy. And then I also have an ottoman at the end of my bed that is full of fabric. I also have an underbed storage container that has some things in it. And I also have 3 or 4 bins in the garage. I used to have 10, so it is down from what it was. So I have a lot of fabric, a lot of stash, but I do know for the most part where it all is. But I am in need of going through the whole thing. So I'm actually in process. This has inspired me to get it together. Another thing I have done is to use the vacuum bags that you can buy at Dollar Tree, and you can seal up your fabric and then put it in your garage or something, and it'll protect it from air and dust and mold and all that kind of thing. And it works out really great for fabric as well. I sometimes will do that in the summertime. I'll take the winter sweater knits and things like that and store those that way until like around late July when I start Christmas sewing. So as you can see, it literally is all over the house. But I can do that because I live alone. So I also have them labeled. The individual cubes are numbered. So the top left cubicle and this one in here is A1. Underneath that is A2. And that way I know which cubicle things are in. And when I move them around, I need to update that. So that's something that I haven't been super good at. So now let's talk about sewing patterns. We have talked about the kinds of patterns that are good for your body. Now let's talk about how to organize all this. So keeping your patterns organized means that you can always find that perfect design without buying something again. I don't use printed patterns very much anymore, but I do still have a bit of a stash filed away. For my storage, I have inherited kind of two thrifted file cabinets, and those are full of printed patterns. There's also binders with sheet protectors. I don't think this is a great option for a lot of patterns because the pattern pieces are too large to put in those. So I feel like that might be good for a little craft project or something, but not an entire garment. You're going to have way too many pieces to organize them in a binder. But if you can use it, you can use it tabs to organize them by garment type, dresses, tops, pants, and so forth. Honestly, these binders would just fill up too quickly. And what I do is I use 9 by 13 envelopes and then I put them in the file cabinet. Accordion files are also a compact and portable way. They're perfect for organizing patterns by category or designer. Again, they would also fill up very fast. It's just not practical if you sew a lot. Bangers boxes work great. This is what I used to do back in the day of the big four, and they were all the small envelopes, which you could never get to close again once you used it. But for collections, banger boxes is a practical solution. The only thing is, since it's not plastic, it's open to water contamination or anything. So if you have them in a basement, it could not be a super good storage method for long term. But they do stack easy and they can be labeled. What I use is some thrifted file cabinets and I have them filed by designer or pattern company, and then they're either in alphabetical or number order, depending on how the designer does that. Digitizing your patterns, of course, saves space and reduces paper clutter, but you still have to be able to find them. I use Google Drive for permanent storage and organize them by women's, men's, kids, crafts, and then by company. But you could also create folders organized by the garment types. This makes finding what you need quick and easy. I also have a folder on iCloud that I use for current projects that are ongoing, pattern testing, and that kind of thing. For a long time, I used an app called Sewing Patterns, and it was on my iPhone, my iPad, and all my patterns were logged, whether they were printed or digital. A drawback I recently ran into with this, though, is I would like to take that database now and put that into Stash Hub, and there's no way to transfer that database to another program. So, at least for a while, I'm going to end up with things in two places, which isn't ideal, but at least they're logged. My favorite recent pattern and fabric organization tool is Stash Hub. This is a very comprehensive app that not only documents fabric and patterns, but also your projects. And I'll be interviewing one of the creators this next week. Please submit your questions by Monday evening, April 20th. And let's take a look right now at Stash Hub. So to try it out, you can get a free month if you use my referral code. You can use this QR right here or just this coupon code. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with Stash Hub. I'm going to let Yvette show it to us from beginning to end. There's so many things you can do with it. I'm very impressed. Write your questions in the comments and on the Facebook group. Go ahead and download that first free month so you can try it out and add a few fabrics to it. Removable sticker labels on your fabric for identification is another great way of keeping track and remembering what something is. I stick a piece of blue painter's tape on the fabric if I've already pre-washed it, so I know at a glance whether or not I have to wash something. Fabric Mart puts these lovely stickers on their fabrics, which I just love because it has all the information that you need. And I usually leave them on and don't pre-wash them until I'm about to use them, just because it has a lot of great information on here. Once your space is organized, keeping it that way is simple. Just refold your fabric after every project, which sounds easy, but sometimes it's not. Return your patterns to wherever you store them and file them correctly. And then don't shop for anything unless you shop your stash first. Don't shop per project anymore. That is what makes sewing expensive. Shop your stash first and schedule a quarterly decluttering session. This might have helped me not get everything so chaotic. I need this as much or more than anybody listening. Someone suggested to me that they use a one in, one out rule. So they buy a new piece of fabric after a project. The availability of fabrics would make that cost quite a bit in shipping. So I don't know how practical, now that all the fabric stores are practically gone, I don't know how practical that is. But the main thing to remember is even small habits can make a big difference. Be patient with yourself, but resolve. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that also. And it'll make every creative moment a lot more enjoyable if you can get everything under control. Start small, stay consistent, and enjoy the process. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more sewing content and creative inspiration. Tell me in the comments, how do you store your fabric and pattern? And don't forget questions for Yvette from Stash Hub. I created a free Stash Up bundle you can download at this QR code. It's also got a checklist and you can shop with confidence. Along with every other handout from this series, I've created cheat sheets for all the topics we are covered on Stash Up. The QR code will take you to the free download. At the end of this series, you'll have what you need to create your Stash Up notebook. What you will need to create this is just a printer, your paper, 3-ring binder, and then just print the download. I printed mine on index paper, so it will be more durable for the fabric swatches. Now you can order fabric swatches from some online companies like Nick of Time, Mood. If they don't offer swatches, you can order the smallest quantity to cut a swatch from. Or of course, you can always go through your scraps and use them if you know the properties. The purpose here is not to organize your stash. It's to create a library of swatches that you can refer to that reflect the ones you see on the fabric store websites, so you can be more confident of what you're buying. Each time you get a swatch, just staple a 4-inch square to one of the swatch collection pages, and you'll build a nice collection of fabrics. And the purpose here is to reference those for the properties to compare with what you're reading online. At the end of this series, which is next week, I will be doing a giveaway with this finished notebook. It'll come also with 10 preloaded swatches and information to get you started. Simply comment on any video in this series. Comment on all 8. Go ahead and watch all 8. It's been an informative series. I've done a lot of research that's been really helpful even for me. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, hold your loved ones close, because this life here on earth is short. Happy sewing, y'all.
This is Bobbin. While Mommy gets her act together, I thought I'd pop in. Have you subscribed yet? Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Not the bells on the door that I ring to go potty. The one right there next to the subscribe button. See you soon.